Today we coming with some transformation pressure for you. My man came with the fade in the bush. He want all that cut off. He want to restart. So let's get busy. First things first, you want to pick this bush out. So that way when you cut it off, it won't be no nicks or cuts or tears or tugs. It'll just be you cutting it clean off. Now I'm coming with a 1.5 close, and I'm going to go against the grain. Notice how I'm holding his head in place so I don't, tug his head back or nothing like that. And notice how the different ways I'm cutting his hair, because I need to go against the grain. So whatever way the hair is growing, I need to go the opposite direction. And I'm making sure everything's going to be at this 1.5 length. Now I'm just going to go over the whole head again with the 1.5 close, just to ensure everything's at that length. So first I cut the bush off, and then I'm going over the whole head to make sure everything's the same length of hair. Now I'm going to come using my hard side of the brush, and I'm going to brush everything down. You want to use a hard brush to ensure that it tugs this hair and forces it to lay down, because mind you, we just cut his bush off. So his hair is used to sticking up a certain way, but we want everything to lay down now. So I'm going to use a hard brush and brush everything down. Now I'm coming with a 1A on my detachables, and I'm going to come with the grain. And every time I come with the grain, I'm going to brush all the hair down to make sure everything's laying down. And notice how I'm going over the same spot multiple times. I'm not just swiping it one time and then going to the next spot. I keep coming back and going over it again and again to ensure everything's at that length and everything's laid down as clean as possible. We pressure over here. We're not half stepping nothing or half doing anything. We're making sure everything is clean, because that's what we do on the pressure team. So let's get busy. Going over the same spot multiple times, brushing the hair. Notice how I'm holding my client's head so his head won't move around. That way, when you're cutting, you can get the right length of hair and you're not going to dig into his skin or nothing. When I get to the swirl, you got to analyze that swirl in the crown of his head and make sure you're going with the grain and how the swirl grows. Because if you go against the grain in the middle of the head where the swirl is at, you could cause a bald spot. So now I'm coming in with some waving mousse, putting it in his hair, then I'm just going to brush the mousse in. I'm brushing it all around the head, brushing over it multiple times. I go around the head like 2 or 3 times. Then I use a blow dryer, and I'm drying all the mousse up. This is going to help your client hair lay down, especially when you're doing a transformation when their hair is used to sticking up. Also, this extra process might take an extra 5 minutes. 2 minutes to brush the hair, 3 minutes to dry the hair, and you could charge an extra $5 to $10 for this. So, your client wants the best look. He's going to feel like you're giving him a good service, and you can charge more. So it's a win-win. This everything is pressure over here, so that's how we got to do it. We do everything top tier, quality. Also notice how I'm constantly moving the blow dryer around. This way it won't be too much heat on one piece of his head, and then his head will get hot. So you want to keep moving that blow dryer around to make sure you don't cause too much stress or too much heat on your client. You want them to be comfortable. Now I'm coming in, I'm going to prep the hairline. I'm holding my card where his hairline's at, and I'm spraying the hairline. This ensures that the holding spray won't get all over his face and his head. Now I'm starting with the back taper. I always fade down on the neck tapers. So I'm starting with a 1.5 open, and I'm just coming up, and then I'm going to close it up. So I'm coming 1.5 open and then 1.5 closed, constantly combing the hair down. You see how I'm combing? I'm looking at the spots to make sure I'm getting every spot. Now I'm coming with a 1 open, and I'm going to go against the grain again. But this time, I'm consciously not going higher than I just went with the 1.5. I'm just going to stay lower, and when I get to where that's at, I'm going to flick out. I also come with the grain with the 1 open to smooth everything down. Then I'll go ahead and close it up and do the same steps. Now I'm doing the shape up. You start at the back, at the bottom. You come up, angle towards the ear. Make sure that's a straight line. Hit the line multiple times, and when you get to the curve, you go ahead and hit the swerve. You get to the curve, you use your corner, you hit the swerve. That's all you gotta do. You bring that all the way around to the front. You hit the back of the front and connect it to the back. And everything is clean and connected. Hold the ear down, hit the swerve move, and you good. Now I'm going to switch to my gold trimmers to do some cleanup work. Clean up all the excess hair on the back of the neck. I always switch to these trimmers because they're not as sharp as my black ones. And I don't want to do cleanup work and accidentally cut somebody. So now I'm coming to the other side, starting at the bottom, making sure everything's symmetrical, looking from the back. I always look from the back of the head to make sure both sides look even. Now I'm doing the shape up, and as again, when I get to the curve, I hit the swerve. You know, you can't really see. I'm so muscular and big, you know, you couldn't even see that. But yeah, that's a lot of pressure. But you know, when you get to the curve, you hit the swerve. Use your corners. Swerve the front to the back. Swerve the back to the front. All types of swerving going on. Always constantly combing over the hairline and then hitting the hairline again. That's how we're looking for the back taper. Clean. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start the shape up. So I'm starting in the middle of the head, and I'm coming straight to the left. Every time I go left, I come back right. And this is like a guideline for the hairline. Every time you go one way, you want to come back over where you went. That way you're ensuring everything is connected and everything is straight. Always look at it from the front, look in your mirrors. See how I'm looking in my mirror, looking from the front? I'm trying to make sure everything is right and everything is pressure. Now notice in the corner, you see how I'm kind of digging in a little bit. I dig in a little bit so I can angle my sidebar towards the eye. I always go at an angle because if you look at it from the front, it looks straight. On the side, it looks like an angle. Then I'm coming at the bottom, I'm going halfway, and when I get to the curve, I hit the swerve. See, I'm at the bottom, I'm using half of my blade. See that? And I'm going straight. And then when I get to the curve, you hit the swerve. Use your corners, and you can be good. You can do that even to clean it up first, just to get that line in there. And then you go ahead and clean it up, do some cleanup work on it. But then I just go ahead and connect the other side. I do the other side the same way. But you got to be looking from the front. You got to always look at it from the front and look in the mirror. And then you can see what's going on. You can see, make sure everything's straight, everything looking the same on each side. That's how you got to do it. That's how you make sure everything is symmetrical and everything is pressure. You got to do the exact same thing on each side. Now, my client wanted a low temp, but due to me transforming his hair, cutting his bush off, and him having a really very light hairline, I wanted to do the shape up first to ensure that I could have all the hair to see where the shape up's at. So now I'm going to come in and do the low temp. So I'm making a bald line right now, just coming up to about right out the top of the ear. And I'm going to come my Andes Masters open. And I'm coming up about maybe a quarter of an inch, like not too much. I'm doing some lever play. I'm coming with the grain, and I'm doing some lever play with the grain. I'm closing up a little bit, coming back down where the guideline's at. And, you know, I just do a quick little fade at the very bottom because his hair is so short. I don't really need to fade too much. I just need to fade with my lever open and doing some lever play. Basically, I'm opening the lever up, closing the lever up when I need to. You know, getting them different lengths of hair to get a nice blend at the bottom corner here. So again, I'm going up, completely open. Close my clipper up a little bit. Now I'm coming with the grain. Completely open. Smooth everything out at the bottom there. Then I'm doing some lever play, you know, using my corners, stretching the skin. I'm flicking out. I'm opening the lever, closing the lever. You know, there wasn't really a specific steps that I did here. I just kind of blended that bottom corner out while adjusting my lever. And I'm going with and against the grain, guys. You can use lever play and blend with the grain, just like how you do against the grain. And you know, y'all know lever play is my system. I move my lever around and adjust it accordingly to the length of hair I need to blend. And as you can see, them bottom corners are tapered out that quick and easy. Now I'm coming in with some enhancements. My client has a real light hairline, so I'm just going to fill in these spots of the hairline. Just notice how my hand is constantly moving as I'm spraying the enhancements on. This way, You're gonna get a nice even spread, and you're not gonna spray too much in one area. Doing the same thing on this side. And again, the haircut was already there, but this is just to make everything better, fill in them light spots. And again, it's also to add more to my price tag. If I'm using enhancements, I can charge more for that. Just like how I was doing the wave cream. So now I'm coming in with some fibers, and I use the fibers to kind of cover up the shine from the spray. And also I spray the fibers off of the hairline some. So when I go to reshape it up, I'm actually shaping up the excess fibers that's off the hairline. So it gives it like a really sharp, clean look. So now I'm gonna go reshape it up. And again, I'm just following the hairline that I already did. That's why I always do the shape up before I use enhancements. Then I'm just following the line that I already put there. And as you can see, it's coming out nice and clean. You can see the hairline way more. But again, guys, my hairline was already there. Before y'all use enhancements, the haircut's got to be good before you put the extra stuff on there. And I always come back in and I refade with the enhancements, so I still get a nice clean faded look. Everything looks realistic and blended in. It doesn't look like I'm spraying stuff on top of something, you know? I use my enhancements to try to make it look realistic as possible. People don't want to look like they got a fake hairline. People don't want to look like they got spray on their head. They want it to look natural, but they want it to be pressure. So always go ahead and refade once you finish doing the shape up for them enhancements. Just do a refade, just a little touch up, you know, just to smooth everything out, get everything looking natural. Now I'm coming in and I'm going to spray some holding spray on the hairline. That's always going to lock in the enhancements. And I'm coming in with my straight razor. I'm stretching the skin, holding the razor at a 45-degree angle. And I'm just bringing everything back to the hairline. And this always gives me that natural ash line, that disconnection. I'm using my corner. I'm stretching the skin as far as possible. I'm using my corners to get that curve. You know what I mean? You still got to hit the curve on the straight razor. So I use the corner of my blade and stretch the skin as far as possible and just, you know, hit it like that. Now I'm coming on the front of the hairline, stretching the skin down, bringing everything back to the hairline. Y'all can see that natural ash line coming in. Doing the same thing on this side. Stretch the skin down, bring everything back up. Stretch the skin out, using my corner to get the curve. That's how you bring everything together. That's how you get that pressure line up. Ash line, you see that? No pencil. So this is how my client came in today. You know, he had the bush, little matted down bush on the top in the fade. He said, man, he's tired of that. He needs to get that out of there. So, you know, he came in looking a little scruff, came in looking a little rough. He came in mad, he came in sad, but he left in his bag. Let's get busy, man. Hashtag nothing but pressure in the comments. Y'all see, shape up first, blend at the end. Everything symmetrical, enhancements, all that. Clean, restarted cut. Hashtag nothing but pressure in the comments. We gotta say nothing but pressure, because if you're trying to build that clientele up, every time you put the clippers in your hand, you need to apply full pressure, maximum pressure. Okay, nothing less. It's nothing but pressure.